We were together for about a year, and during that time, I lured him into my style of life, but he really couldn't handle it. Damn, Natalie Cole, you keep getting these niggas hooked on the drugs. Fuck, girl, you terrible. I thought Etta James was bad, baby. I thought Rickety James is bad, but girl, I don't know, Natalie Cole, you might be worse. Oh, my life, be waiting for you. Look how you do. The years between 1980 and 1983, right after my breakup with Marvin, were the worst years of my drug use before I ended up at Hazelden. My career gradually went into the toilet because of my drug use. During this time, I wouldn't even hire someone who wasn't on drugs. Okay. How could I tell? I wasn't exactly subtle during the interview. I'd kind of pull out my pipe while I was talking, and I'd pretty much know from the reaction I got whether or not this individual was with my program. And if they weren't, they were underqualified. Easy as that. Even in the midst of my drug-induced self-absorption, the most selfish motherfuckers on this earth to me are users, and I don't give a frog. I mean, all the way down to the marijuana, all the way up to the drink. I'm not talking about the kind of marijuana users that come in the house, oh, I had a bad day, let me sip my wine and take 2 puffs. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you motherfuckers that gotta smoke 45 blunts a day, okay? Y'all ain't mentally here. What's wrong with you? You gotta smoke 45 blunts a day. Even in the midst of my drug-induced self-absorption, I knew better than to expose close friends and family to my habits. I never lit up right in front of Cookie, Bay, or Janice. Rather than confront their disapproval, I isolated myself from the rest of my family, my business people, and my old friends as much as possible. I stayed home a lot if I wasn't touring. If I went out, it was usually with people like me, fellow druggies. Mostly, we were freebasing cocaine. My world became very small. The dope man became my best friend. I became friendly with strangers, anyone who sold to me. One night I was on the other side of Los Angeles, far from the lights of Beverly Hills, buying some powdered courage. The house was like a mini factory with a room that was just for cutting, preparing, and packaging cocaine. The workers were all women ranging in ages from 15 to 65, wearing colorful scarves around their heads. It was sort of a cross between an assembly line and a sewing circle. They were all very friendly, sitting around chatting and working. It was almost surreal, and in the next room you could smell chicken frying. It was distinguishedly homey, with kids running around and a TV set on, kinda. I didn't stay any longer than I needed to. In the back of my mind, some part of me had to be wondering what these people were wondering about me. Here's the daughter of, down in the hood in Compton, picking up cocaine at a dope factory. As I was getting into my car and pulling away, I saw a sight in my rear view mirror that I could not believe. A large black van pulled up on the sidewalk, and a swarm of men appeared wearing dark clothes and helmets. They were vaulting over the fence surrounding the house and running toward it with guns pulled. I saw big yellow letters across the backs of their jackets. It was the LA SWAT unit. That whole house was busted. They took everybody, babies, men, women, and grandmas. Everything told me that I should pull away, but I couldn't take my eyes off the scene. A few minutes before, and I would have still been in there. I couldn't believe my luck. I drove home almost peeing on myself. How did I manage such a narrow escape? There's that angel again. One of the only bright spots of this time period was my 8th album, Don't Look Back. I worked with songwriter Michael Masser, who came to my home and sat at my piano and played a song he wrote. Someone that I used to love. It made me cry. I couldn't wait to record it. Although Chuck and Marvin were producing the album, Michael insisted on producing his own song. We hit it off as soon as I met him. Michael was sweet, talented, and rather eccentric. His intensity reminded me of Schroeder, the Peanuts character playing Beethoven. He had this very interesting looking blonde Dutch boy haircut. Once we started to record the song in the studio, I must have done the vocal 20 times. Literally, Michael ended up using the 3rd or 4th take, which I had tried to tell him to use anyway. I was ready to kill him. We worked all night at the Lion's Share recording studio on Beverly Boulevard in Hollywood. Chuck and Marvin were not allowed to interfere. They had to nervously sit by and watch him work everybody into a total frazzle while he tried to produce this record. So I believe all producers are like that except for Diddy. I don't think he's this intense. I just think he's high. I believe Kanye West is like that. The Spectre guy is like that. Prince is like that. I believe that all creators are a bit neurotic about certain things. They want things to be perfect. In between singing and getting high, I found time to become completely obsessed with my appearance. I would be home all day and change my clothes 3 or 4 times every couple of hours, all dressed up with nowhere to go. I was a skinny little thing, almost anorexic, but I was described in print as model slender. Yeah, that's that junkie look. That was the look for a long time. Thank God that the times are changing and thicker girls are not being shunned for having hips and breasts and ass. You know, it was a time where you had to look physically gaunt in order to be considered a model. And for real, it's still like that, but at least curvy girls are given a chance to participate in things outside of Victoria's Secrets. I received an offer to be the spokeswoman for Posner Cosmetic and did my first TV commercials for them. Posner was a line of beauty products for Black women. I was high as a kite during most of the shooting sessions. I know you fucking lying. I know you lying. No, you lying. Typically, I was so tired from being up all night freebasing that I would come in early in the morning and lie down while the makeup man did my face. At the last minute, he would make me open my eyes so that he could do my eye makeup. Then I'd get on the set and I'd do my perky thing in front of the camera. And in between takes, I'd nod off. I don't know how I did it, but Posner sold a lot of makeup that year. There is a curious bit of history to another advertisement I was involved with at about the same time. J. Walter Thompson created a television spot for the 1981 Thunderbird featuring the song Unforgettable. An image of my father is superimposed over a 1955 T-Bird. An image of me is superimposed over the 1981 model. You can hear both of us singing, and the ad gives the impression that we are alternating verses. I had completely forgotten this commercial until someone reminded me of it during the Unforgettable tour in 1990. In the fall, I worked with singer Lou Rawls at the Las Vegas Hilton, and then we went on to Carnegie Hall. Lou was a great admirer of my father and was also signed to Capitol Records. The show was divided in half, with each of us doing our own thing. However, we did a few dynamic songs together. We opened with an up-tempo song called It Takes Two, Baby, and did a medley of songs from Porgy and Bess that was lovely. There was some discussion about the two of us doing a Porgy and Bess revival on Broadway, which I would have loved. God was constantly giving me signs. The next one was a real wake-up call. Bill Cosby and I had just finished a date at the Las Vegas Hilton in February of 1981 when I almost lost my life in the infamous fire when I was trapped in my room for several hours. The fact that I suffered no physical consequences from the incident is no small miracle. I was asked to step in at the last minute for Aretha at the Cool Jazz Festival in San Diego because she had a throat problem. I was honored to be her fill-in and glad to have the opportunity to perform in front of 30 or 40,000 people. This was a young R&B audience, and I was anxious to cut loose in a way that you usually can't do in Vegas or the other places I have been playing with Lou Rawls. It was a great night. The crowd was with me, and I sang all my best stuff, from This Will Be to Lucy in the Sky with Diamond. I started dating again, and I was introduced to a cool, gorgeous Italian guy named Dino. Ciao, them Dinos. I started dating again, and I was introduced to a cool, gorgeous Italian guy called Dino. The truth is that he was the right guy at the wrong time. He was a thoughtful, decent man from a nice Italian family, but everything was all wrong. We were together for about a year, and during that time, I lured him into my style of life, but he really couldn't handle it. Damn, Natalie Cole, you keep getting these niggas hooked on the drugs. Fuck, girl, you terrible. I thought Etta James was bad, baby. I thought Rickety James is bad, but girl, I don't know, Natalie Cole, you might be worse. You might be bad girl Natalie Cole. He cared a lot for me and Broby. He was fearful for me because I was so reckless, and I also had incredible stamina because of the drugs. I could stay up for hours and hours, sometimes days. I don't know how many times he had to put me to bed after I had passed out on the living room floor. There were some good times when I was straight long enough to enjoy our time together. He would cook for us. We would swim and travel, and he really loved Robbie. He was one of the few good guys in my life. As if I wasn't getting enough clues that I was in serious trouble in my life, I was arrested for several traffic violations in a short period of time. One of these was just after I made a drug buy on Sunset Boulevard. One night, Dino and I had an argument, and I got very upset with him. So I took my keyboard and a 6-pack of Moosehead beer and jumped in my hot little Datsun 240Z. Ooh. I had just dropped some Quaaludes, which obviously impaired my judgment because as I came down Benedict Canyon Boulevard to where Alpine intersects with Sunset, I took the corner too fast. I bounced down Sunset, hitting 3 concrete lampposts. Bam, 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 like the ball in a game of pinball. The Datsun flipped over and skidded to a stop on its crumpled roof. I was conscious, hanging upside down from my seatbelt, and I remember asking myself out loud, am I dead yet? What happened was that the first people to come upon the flattened remains of the 240Z were 4 women returning home from a prayer meeting at their church. When they saw me on the ground, they began to pray and lay hands on me.
How you do.